Hey, I'm Autoweek Motorsports editor Mac Morrison. Another special guest in studio today, Katherine Legge, driver of the number 6 Dragon Racing True Car Dallara Chevrolet.
Yes. Awesome.
Did I get the whole thing right?
You got the whole thing right. That's awesome. Well done.
So you've had a long day. You're here promoting the Detroit Grand Prix, but before Detroit in a couple weeks, Indy 500 just a few days away. You got in the field yesterday, qualified 27th, 5th, 30th. I was trying to bump you up.
I should have gone with that, shouldn't I? I should have gone, yeah.
So Bourdais was what, 25th?
Yeah.
Something like that. But you guys, here's the funny thing about qualifying at Indy. For all the challenges you've had this season, all the guys, including you and girls who were the second day qualifiers, you guys went out and practiced the rest of the afternoon with Briscoe, the pole sitter, and everyone else. And you guys, a lot of you were faster than the first day qualifiers. So what was that all about?
Oh, yeah. It was, well, first of all, having not tested the week before, having got the Chevy, really late, put us at a massive disadvantage because we didn't know where we were going with the car and what we were doing. So I was really, really lucky that our engineers are very smart people.
Yeah.
And Sebastian can set a car up because I've driven one oval before in my career, so I was very reliant on them. And we have a good, solid car. I mean, the car that I qualified was pretty much my race car. They didn't want to take any risks that I would throw it in the wall because there'd been so many crashes already on the first day. But I am confident we could have probably put it in the show on the first day if we'd trimmed out the downforce a bit. We would have put it in the field, no problem. Sebastian, of course, would have as well. He was more trimmed than me. I think they were just being a little bit cautious. But when we went out with full tanks and race setup, we were doing okay in traffic. It was confidence building for the race.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Kanaan was here just a few days ago and talk about two drivers on the opposite end of the spectrum at the Speedway, right? Because as you just mentioned, you've only run on one oval, Milwaukee, what, in 06?
Yep.
You did lead, I think, 10 or 12 laps there, but one oval, somebody like Tony's been to, a million ovals in the Speedway for years and years. But it's always impressive to me, you guys always seem, pro drivers, you always seem to get up to speed, even at a place as intimidating as Indianapolis, pretty quick. I mean, you're a few miles an hour off of the pole speed, but considering everything you've been through to start, that's not bad at all. So what do you attribute that to? And how scary is it,
I'll tell you a funny story. So Sebastian drives my car first, right? He comes in, he said, there's something wrong with the car. She shouldn't do her rookie orientation in that. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't feel right scary. And I'm thinking, it's a new car. Stop being a pussy. It'll be fine. And I go out, and I'm driving around, and I'm thinking, this is awesome. I'm at Indy, and I'm going really quickly. I look down at the dash. It says 188 miles an hour, and I'm like, oh. I just have to find like 40, 50 miles an hour. That's not a lot, right? And so I bought the car in. I did stage 1. I bought the car in, and I was like shaking, thinking, that car doesn't feel so good. So they went back and checked it, and Sebastian was like, there's definitely something wrong with it. And they found the problem with it. And we went out the next day, and it was easy flat, like Seb said. So if we hadn't had him there, I would have thought that was normal and freaked myself completely out. So I was very lucky to have him.
So what was the problem?
So there was one part that we had that was for the Lotus, which bolted on the, the aluminum skid plates underneath. And what happened was, because there's a special one for the Chevy, it had kind of pulled out all the bolts, so it was touching the ground. It was getting sucked down and touching the ground. So you're losing like 500 pounds of downforce. So it was a big deal.
That's not a lot. Not at the Speedway. You'd have been fine.
Right, that's like sending me out on my first run at the Speedway ever, completely trimmed out, going,
yikes.
Come on, Katherine, go flat.
Yeah, wow. That's not good.
No.
Well, I'm glad that worked out. I'm glad you guys sorted that out. But
I was lucky.
Let's back up a little bit, because race fans know you from Champ Cars. You mentioned back in 06, 07. Go back to 05, and you were actually the first woman to win an Atlantic Series or Atlantic Championship race. Won 3 races that year, I think. Finished third in the championship, and then you kind of went away for a while from the U.S. and went over to the DTM when that whole Champ Car IndyCar merger deal sort of went down.
Well, IndyCar had Danica. I don't think there was really space for me at that time. Everything was uncertain as to which Champ Car teams were going to make the move over. I thought, I got the opportunity to be an Audi factory driver, and I thought, awesome, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to go and do that, because at that stage I was still thinking Formula One might be a possibility, right? So I went over there, and I I did that for a while, and I missed America, I missed open wheel racing, and I wanted to do the Indy 500. I wanted to be part of IndyCar. IndyCar's like, since that whole merger thing, where it was kind of messy and murky and not very good, it's done fantastic things, and it's really on the up and up, and the fans are starting to get enthusiastic about it again, and they're picking up more and more fans and more viewers. So,
do you think that Indy cars are safe or should be going flat around a place like Indy, or, you know, do they need to be slowed down in the corners?
No, I don't think so. I think as drivers, we're a bit deranged, right? I mean, let's be honest. If you look at it realistically, do you want to go 220 whatever miles an hour around this place in this car for the purpose of everybody, you know, watching you race? I mean, if you think about it in logical terms, you must be absolutely crazy to do it. But yet we're all absolutely desperate, passionate about it. And it's tradition, you know, you have to be flat around there. If you're not flat around there, then you don't have the ball.
Yeah, definitely.
So, no, I think that you have a healthy respect for the dangers, but it is what it is. It is our sport, and there is danger in everything you do. You could be hit by a bus tomorrow. It's never anything you want to think about, talk about, or accept, but you just have to have it in the back of your mind somewhere and have a healthy respect for it.
How irritating is it that all people want to ask you about is this crash in 2006 at Road America? I mean, are you kind of over it and like, look, it was 6 years ago, I don't want to talk about it anymore?
Was it 6 years ago? Gosh, that makes me feel old.
Tell me about it.
Oh my goodness.
It was frightening though.
It was very scary.
Well, I shouldn't, you were in the car, you were frightened, but maybe it looks worse than it actually was.
No, it was really bad.
I was hoping.
No, it was not something I want to repeat, that's for sure. But in my tiny little mind, I think that I can see it, that it wasn't my fault. You know, the rear wing fell off. If it had been something I had done to cause it, I think I would have justified it differently. I don't think I maybe would have been the same, but for me it was just a freak accident. I accepted it. It was chance in a million that it would happen. And I was in the car 4 days later, and my subconscious completely cut it off. I have no emotion. When I watch the video, I don't see it as me in the car anymore. I can't remember it really. You know, the brain is a really clever thing, and it's completely separated it from my memory, if you like. I mean, I realize I was in it. I remember a lot of things about it, but not really. Not anymore.
You are crazy.
I am.
That is kind of crazy. You know, because I would have thought, actually, I'm not trying to convince you of the other way, but that it's almost maybe more frightening that it's out of your control. Whereas if I did something wrong, I can correct that. But this idea that wings fly off or tires fly off is like, I would think, like when we're testing cars even on an auto week level, it's like that's the thing that, you know, I tend to think about more as like who prepared this car and what am I going to do if even at 100 miles an hour, you know, suspension breaks?
No, for me not, because I have 100% faith in my crew. It wasn't them, it was just a failure in the part. And you can't drive around a racetrack thinking, okay, what if this part breaks or what if this part breaks? You know, if I'm at Indy next Sunday and I'm going up to the start going, God, I hope my rear wing doesn't fly off, then
you got a problem.
Then you got a real problem. So for me, if it had been something that I had done wrong, then I would have been putting myself in danger in my brain. Yeah. But because it was just a freak part thing, you know, I could justify that because it's like getting hit by a bus.
Sure.
Or something out of your control happening in everyday life. You know, it's not something that happens normally. So.
It's been a pleasure. Good luck at the Speedway. Good luck in Detroit. We'll see you soon.
Awesome.
Hey, I'm Mac Morrison. Thanks for watching.
Catch all the latest auto enthusiast news at Autoweek.com, in Autoweek Magazine and iPad Edition. Talk with us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at AutoWeek USA.